The chef took some cheese and made some great things. They met in cooking class. It was boil meets grill. When baking dog biscuits, be sure to use cauliflower. Okay, I'm done. Hey everyone, my name's Tankbank and today we are going to explore the wonderful world of disastrous cooking stories. This will be a series of short stories about my past cooking experiences and a reminder as to how not to cook. Now, before we begin, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I'm actually a pretty decent cook. It can be so therapeutic and exciting to try new recipes and to especially find you can add to your own collection. However, this comes with some trial and error. The errors have ranged from annoying mistakes, terrible embarrassment, to almost burning my house down. But yeah, let's go. So just to kick things off, there's certain tricks you pick up on by just doing cooking from day to day. One trick that I picked up was to test how fresh an egg is. If it sinks in water, the egg is fresh and good to go. If it floats, yeah, I wouldn't eat it. If you've ever cracked open an egg which is out of date, you know it is the most vile, disgusting thing you could probably ever smell. So by what I've just said, you can probably guess what's going to happen. It was a particularly greedy day. I was planning on making a huge omelette. I had a light dinner the night before, and that morning I was craving something big. I got my pan and began to heat it up. Getting my eggs prepared with all the other ingredients, I decided this omelette needed 6 eggs. A hearty omelette, if I do say so myself. Now, bear in mind, I only had a 6-pack of eggs in the fridge, so this was all I had to work with. So, I began to crack each egg into the pan, one after another, adding together that eggy mass, which would soon become my monster breakfast. I did the first 5 eggs no problem. Then I got the last egg. I could feel my heart pounding, my stomach groaning. Time almost slowed down as I cracked the last egg and the yolk slowly dripped onto the pan. I could do ASMR. So the final egg dropped into the pan, mixing together with the rest of the pre-omelette mixture. It was at that point that a wall of rotting scent hit my nostril. It took me by surprise so quickly I almost hurled up there and then. I can't stress how disgusting this was. I didn't even realise what it was to begin with, but then I noticed that the actual goop that came out of the egg was a vibrant orange. I hadn't even bought these eggs too long ago. I have no idea how that one even got there. Now, because I cracked that into the pan last, it pretty much ruined the other eggs that were already in that pan. And worst thing was, after throwing that out, I had nothing else in the house to eat. It's okay though. I could have eaten the leftover cardboard from my empty cereal box I had the day before. So yeah, always check your eggs before cracking them open, boys and girls. It's times like that where you go out of your way to find out how to avoid that in the future. The next embarrassing cooking story was the time me and my friends decided to try and make jelly. This was when I was much younger. Parents weren't home, and me and my friend decided to take matters into our own hands when we found jelly mix in the cupboard. Fucking jackpot! Bear in mind, we were about 10 at the time, so none of us really had any real cooking experience. And basic chemistry wasn't really the highest on our agenda. We read the instructions on the back, very loosely. If you've never had jelly mixture before, it's essentially just a block of jelly which you need to boil up in a container, so it allows the jelly to expand. Once the jelly's had time to boil, you just gotta slap it in the fridge, cool it down, and then it's pretty much ready to eat. Seems simple, right? Well, we followed the steps on the back, and in my 10-year-old mind, I figured I was the next Gordon Ramsay. So we decided to boil the water and the jelly in a glass bowl. Word of warning, kids, don't ever do this. To cut long story short, the boiling water turned the bowl into a fragmentation grenade and blew up all over the kitchen. The bang was so loud and so sudden, we did not even have time to react before shards of glass just came flying straight at us. The entire kitchen was absolutely covered in purple goo. It was a disaster. Luckily, there wasn't any injuries, but it took a lot of explaining when my parents came home and I had to explain what the hell just happened. Although the 2 stories I've just told you, you can probably get away with, this next one is potentially life-threatening. Yep, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. This is how I tell you how I almost burnt my house down. Again, I was young and stupid when this happened, so I have learnt quite a bit since then. And essentially what happened was I was cooking some chicken in the pan, and I had all my ingredients behind me on the counter ready. Somehow, when I wasn't looking, I'd managed to knock over the cooking oil, which spread across the countertop and all over all the ingredients. Wasn't too much of a problem just to clean it up. I grabbed the nearest tea towel, mopped it all up and put it back down on the side. No big deal. Thought nothing more of it. However, the actual counter I'd put it down on wasn't the same counter that I'd got the ingredients from. It was the counter next to the gas hob. The gas hob that was on cooking my chicken. So this tea towel was in proximity of the fire, and I very stupidly walked away, thinking, it'll be fine. Now, you normally smell a fire before anything else, so you would have thought I would have realised that it was very smoky. Nope, I had shut the door to the kitchen, so any smoke would have been isolated in that room. No ventilation. I only noticed what was happening when I eventually decided to mosey on back and realised there was black smoke billowing out of the door. It was at that moment the alarm started. I smashed in the door, darted towards the fire, and like an absolute boss, kicked open the back door and tossed out that pan with the burning rag. What had happened was the oily rag that I just used to clean everything up with, apparently very potent to catching fire. I wish I could tell you that's what happened, but no, it was actually my dad that did all that. I just stood there and shat myself. Luckily, there was no harm, and we managed to air the house enough so the smoke went out the back door. I was not in the good books though after this had happened, and as the ultimate punishment for a kid my age, my Game Boy Advance was taken away from me. And I'd just got the latest Pokemon game. As a young kid, that was pretty heartbreaking, let alone almost burning my house down. In all honesty though, it did teach me an important lesson. I hope it gave you some useful information, or maybe even just the gentle reminder of not to dick around when you're cooking. I've plenty more embarrassing stories, a lot of which were in my university days, but I'll save those for another day. I'm planning to maintain a schedule like this, where I'm uploading weekly videos with other stories and skits, so be sure to follow my social media, which is in the description below. Kids, stay in school, don't do drugs, and make sure you check those eggs before you crack them open.